All right, drawing circle graphs. There we go. So on the circle graphs, this is the first part. You will need to draw a circle at the bottom, which I did on all of your sheets. I'm going to do mine now. Nice fair size one. You don't want to go too small. Okay, at the bottom. And find your center. If you don't know where your center is, just find the center, put a little dot in it so that we have it for next. So let's look at the data they gave us. All right. It says draw a circle graph using a protractor. So we will need a protractor also. So the protractor, the little plasticky thing that looks like that, okay? You will need one of those. If you don't have one of those, there is a bucket of them up here and you can grab your own. But you will need one of those also for it. And then something with a straight edge. The edge of your protractor works fine too, but just create a straight line. A ruler, whatever. Your geometry set does come with a small little ruler. You could even use one of those. All right. I'm going to use my little plastic ruler here. Okay. Are we ready to go? You don't have a protractor? There's some up here. Just put your mask on and grab one out of the bucket. And it is yours forever. You can have it. Okay, so this one is Shannon surveyed her grade 7 class for the number of days they use the internet, or the number of days they use the internet in a typical week. The results are shown in the table. I would imagine this is probably not an accurate table anymore. Yes, Ethan. Just come and grab one up here. Okay, otherwise then you'll be behind. I would suspect that everybody in this class, if I redid this survey, everybody probably uses the internet every day. Nope. No? Well, then there would be one outlier there. But anyways, in her class, she had 3 that don't use the internet at all. 1 to 3 times a week, 9 of her students, and then 4 or more times a week, 18 of her students. All right. So they are going to give you less and less of this chart every single time. So for some of them, they're going to give you the chart and you're going to have to fill in the pieces along the way. And then other ones, they're going to give you just this and you're going to have to create the chart. So on your little sticky, all right, on this little sticky, we're going to put the basics of what the chart will look like. I'm going to turn it sideways just because I can fit the chart on nicer. Okay? And your chart, it really is going to have, we're going to have 5 categories. 5 things going down. 2, 3, 4, 5. As long as you got 5. And I'm just going to write in what each of these are. So your first column is going to be your data. And then your categories. Your categories are going to run down here. Okay? So your data and your categories are going to run down that side there. Ethan, can you close the door? And if you don't like to write downward, you can just go categories here. So in this case here, 0 times a week, 1 to 3, right? So that's going to give you. So the next thing is going to be your kind of your tally, right? The number in each category is going to be next. These 2 here are always given to you. Okay? Those 2 are always given to you. After this, then the next 3 are the ones that you're going to have to make sure you put in, you create. Okay? The next one is going to be the percent, the decimal, and the degree. Okay? And then we're going to draw one more line this way along the bottom. So you're going to build one of these. If they don't give you one, you're going to want to build one of these every single time. Now at the end of your tally, you're going to want to know the total, because they are not going to give you the total of how many people were surveyed, right? If you look at this graph right here, they don't tell you how many are in your class, but we'll be able to figure that out, right? Percent, what will a percent add up to? Out of 100. So we have to make sure that our percent in this column all add up to 100%. Okay. The decimals are just going to be what these percent are in decimal form. So that's just going to be kind of a repeat of this. Okay. And then the degrees, how many degrees do we have in a circle? 360. Matthew is correct. 360 degrees. So we got to make sure that our degrees are all going to add up to 360 after that. Okay. So a percent is found out by taking an object or a category. Let's say we'll just call it a category. So you're going to take the category and you're going to divide it by the total and then times by 100. That's how you're going to get all the values that are in there. And we're going to round to the nearest. So we're going to go to the nearest percent. So we're going to round to the nearest percent. So I'm going to take a category, however many are in that category. I'm going to divide by the total times by 100. That will give me my percent for that column. How do I get to a decimal from a percent? Matthew?
Divide by 100.
Good. So this column, you're going to take the percent and you're just going to divide by 100 and get back to the decimal. And the reason why this row here is needed is to find our degree. Because in the degree, you're going to take the decimal and you're going to times each of them by 360. And that's going to give you how many degrees each section is going to be. So whether it's going to be like 105 degrees or if it's going to be 42 degrees. But the decimal times by the 360 will tell you how many degrees that sector is. Okay? So that is your little sticky. That's going to be your cheat note for every single one. Now you will notice, has everybody got that written down? Oh, I see a couple pencils still moving. You will notice that that matches here, right? There is the data, there is the tally, the number of students, here's the percent column, there is the decimal value, and there is the central angle, which is the degrees. So a central angle is this one right here that they're talking about, is that central angle. How many degrees will I draw that sector? Okay? And then, so they say draw a circle, use your protractor to measure your angles, label the sectors, and remember that this one here and this one here go onto your circle graph at the end. Everything else does not get labeled on there. Just the percent and the data categories will be what goes on it. All right, so let's put this aside for a second, and we'll come back to that, because this one already has the table. So all we have to do is now fill the table in. All right, make sure you get your calculator out, because we're going to now fill in the table. So I'm going to transfer the number of students from the chart up here to the chart here. So there were 3 people that did not use the internet in a week, 9 that used it from 1 to 3, and 18 that used it 4 or more. And then you know that along the bottom are our totals. So if we add that up, how many students do we get? 30. Right? 30. I'm just going to put the total in a different color. So I've got that. That's my total. So the percent, this one right here, they tell me that in order to find the percent, I need to take the category, divide it by the total, times by 100. So I'm going to just show the first one up here. I'm going to take 3, I'm going to divide it by 30, and then I'm going to times by 100. That's what I'm doing for the percent. Okay? And I'm going to do that for each of them. Everybody see that? I'm going to go 3 divided by 30 times by 100. And if I need to round to the nearest decimal, or nearest percent, I would. But it comes out to be a lovely 10%. Okay, and if you back up 1, right, on my calculator, if I back up 1 before I times by 100, that's my decimal. That's my value right here that I want to put in here, decimal 10. Or you can even think, what is 10% as a decimal? Okay, so we're going to fill these both in and then we'll do that after. So I'm going to go to the next one. 9 divided by 30 times by 100. So I got 30% in here. And what was it before? 0.30. Does this make sense? Yeah? 18 divided by 30 times by 100. So I get 60% and decimal 60. And then these are my totals. So I need to make sure that, especially these ones all came out very nicely, right? But when I'm rounding, sometimes if you round everything up, you might be over 100%. And so you kind of have to play with it. We'll do that one in the next one. But right here, we have 10, 30, 60. That gives me 100%. There's my total. It does add to 100%. Right? Your decimal values, decimal 1, decimal 3, decimal 6, should add to 1 decimal 0. But we don't tend to matter about that. Because if you did these correct, that should work. And then the last one, we're going to take that decimal and we're going to times it by 360 to get our sectors. So decimal 10 times by 360 gives me 36 degrees. Decimal 30 times 360 gives me 108 degrees. And decimal 60 times 360 gives me 216 degrees. Now, what should that column add to?
36.
Good. So add up your column, 36 plus 108 plus 216. It definitely adds to 360. So you want to, I'm going to put that one in red because it's a total. You definitely want to check that out, especially if there's some rounding. This one all came out. The first one always is a perfect one, right? But data doesn't always come out perfectly. Yeah.
Do you want us putting our totals in different colors?
I just put them in a different color so that you knew they were totals.
So like
No, you could just circle them, like if you want. Those are your totals, so you know it's not part of your data. They're totals. Okay. All right, are we ready to graph? All right. So the first thing you want to do is create your first straight line. I tend to always do this. I start there and I go to the right and create my radius out. And that's just mostly because later on when we talk about circles and rotations and trig and everything later on in grade 10, 11, and 12, that represents 0 on a graph and it goes this direction. So that's why I always do that. But it really makes no difference where you start, right? If you have your heart set on, starting randomly right there and moving around, that's your choice. But I always start there. It's just ingrained in me after so many years. So let's use our protractor. And it's also easier to stick your protractor on there because remember that little thing right there lines up with that little dot, and this line has to be directly on there. So don't do that, all right? It's got to line up directly, the little dot in the center and that line right there. Now you're always going to read from the 0. They're going to give you two scales, right? But you wanted to read from the 0. So in this case, mine is on the inside. Check yours. I think most of the zeros are on the inside, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to go 36 degrees. So that's 10, 20, 30. The little tick in the center is 35. So eyeball it as best as you can. 36 would be right next to that. If you're not sure, put your ruler on the 36. And then just put a tick like that. And then you can drop your protractor and use that little tick to draw your line out. And you just want to go to the edge. Like that. So, and you may be a couple degrees out. It's not going to make a big difference, right? Because remember what they said. If your sectors there's too many of them and you can't distinguish between them, then circle graph probably isn't the one you want to use. What is that one called? 0 numbers 0. So it's 0 times 0 times. I'm going to go 0 times because I don't want to just put a 0 because I also have to put the percentage in there, which is 10%. So I want to make sure that it says something more than just 0 and 10%. So 0 times. So I've got my category and my percent. Those are the two things that I need to put. And I always label as I go because I don't want to go, oh, I've got all these little sectors, and then at the end go, what does this one represent? What does this one mean? So I go label as I go. Okay, so now this is where you're going to now rotate your paper. Because now instead of this line being, that line being where you set your protractor, you're now going to set it on the next one. Does that make sense? So now your protractor is going to go back onto there. And we're going to go to the next one that's in the chart, which happens to be 108. So again, I put my little protractor at the red mark on the 0, use the inside one that starts at 0, and then I go to 108. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 108, just before the 110. So right about there. Okay? Right about there. I draw my line. I can now rotate back. And in that sector, I'm going to write 1 to 3 times. And I'm going to put 30%. And the lovely thing about these circle graphs is, do I have to measure the next one? No, it's already done for you, right? Because whatever's left is my third sector. But if not, then I would just keep going if there was a fourth one, next one. But the next one, this bottom one, is 4 or more times. Do you notice how I'm writing horizontally as much as I can? It's kind of like mapping, you know how you on a map, you always want to write horizontal. And then this is what, 60%? And this would be the spot where you could go in and do some nice coloring of your sectors or whatever you'd like to do. So it says draw the circle. We did that. We used the protractor to draw each of the label. We labeled each sector with its category and percent. Yep. Color or shade each sector. So if you wanted to color them, you could do that after. You don't have to do it right now. We're going to skip that step. But we do need to add a title to the graph. Because at the moment, without the table, I would have no idea what it means. Right? So again, your title is really your category title. Internet use number of days a week. Is it important for me to put the number of days a week in there?
Yes.
Yeah. Because if I didn't put that and I went 1 to 3 times, 1 to 3 times what? A day? Monthly? Yearly? Hourly? Nowadays it would probably be hourly.
Nope. Because we have hotspot.
You have a hotspot only? I grew up without internet or cell phones. We had a VCR that had a remote on a cord.
You never lost the remote though.
No, but it was such an inconvenience that we never used the remote. Children were the remote. My parents would go up, change the channel, go up, put another video in. So we were remotes because, you know, the remote was on a cord, so we just didn't. Is that hard? Do you think we're good?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do another one. Yeah, let's do another one. I did have that. Let me see what we got here.
So how come so many papers from the photocopier, not from the photocopier, that come to us from the teachers have this weird crease on them?
Oh, because it gets it sucked into the photocopier weird.
I have multiple papers that have this. Just
Let's do.
Just this
Ooh, let's go to page 2. I don't know what page it is. Find the one on your page that says Jordan surveyed the classmates to determine their favorite food. Favorite school subject. School subject. What page is that? 37. Go to 37. Let's do that one. We'll do one more. And then that one. Or would you like to do the food one on the next page? Want to do this chicken strips, fish and chips, lasagna, pizza, and macaroni? That sounds good. Let's do that one as well. Let's go to 38. This one's a little harder because it's got bigger numbers. Plus, you will also notice that it did not give you a table. So this is where your handy dandy ruler comes in. And you're going to want to extend your line. You need, what, 3 more? 3 more. Use a ruler because, you know, life is so much easier with a ruler.
So I want to freehand it?
No. Give yourself some space there. There we go. Life is always prettier with a ruler. It's a part of math. You gotta make math pretty. It's all about making math pretty. Remember that video about the chalk on the board with those math professors? It was all about the beauty and the art of math.
It's all about the chalk and the ingredients.
Exactly. A good pencil, you know, a nice ruler.
I think
It's all about the accessories.
they discontinued this or they stocked up and people just had chalk rooms.
I know. They were $60 a box. I went
That's
to.
such a waste.
Oh, but when you use chalk, that's nice.
This is
It's like using a good ballpoint pen, the ones, those like jelly ones that just kind of roll nicely. Oh, a good pen. I love a good pen.
Like I have favorite pens, but like not favorite chalk.
Oh,
You
well,
don't
that's because
use
we don't do
chalk.
chalk anymore. But I do have favorite pens. Definitely favorite pens. This one, I don't know where I got it, but it is an amazing pen. This G2, somebody left it on my desk. You can see it's almost empty.
Oh, those are my favorite ones.
These are beautiful pens.
You can get
And these ones here, I like these ones too. These are nice pens too. These Uniball ones. Well, this is on my video. Hello, people that are watching. These are really nice pens. Okay. All right. What do we got? We have percent. Let's put our percent in our title. We got a decimal. And we have a degree. Okay. I'm going to stop the video for a moment for you to try it on your own, and then we'll catch up in a moment when you have it all filled out, and then you can check your answer. All right. You're not quite ready, Matthew?
No.
Okay. I have my lovely calculator out.
That your new one?
No, this is my older one. I like the buttons on these ones better.
So that other one was a waste?
No, it's never a waste to buy a calculator. It's like a good pen. But the buttons are a little bit different. Like these ones are more rounded. These are more clicky. Plus the exponents, like look at this. This is the difference between them. I know that hello at home, you probably don't care. But this one here, if you do an exponent, it automatically does that. And I can go, and I don't have to arrow down to do that. Whereas this one, I have to go 2 to the power of 3. And then if I try to add, subtract the 3, it wants to keep putting it in the exponent. It drives me nuts. So I have to always arrow back, clear, then arrow over, then go -3. I don't like that. Oh, and see, then I end up getting an error anyways. Oh, there's a 3 there. See, it frustrates me. So I prefer this guy, so I'm going to use
I'm just
that
gonna
one.
give somebody that calculator thing to do.
Yeah, well, I have 3 of them, so if somebody needs to borrow one, they can borrow one. All right. What do I do? What do I have to do first?
You fill in the things.
Oh my gosh! What am I missing?
Oh, you're missing the writing.
I need the total first. I don't have a total, right? Because the category divided by total. I have no total. Let's get that number down at the bottom here. 350. 350 plus 225 plus 175 plus 451 and a 264. This school is huge, 1,465 students.
People order more pizza than in our whole school, so.
They order more lasagna than our whole school too.
Oh,
So yeah, this is a big. So did we get that one? Yeah, you're on page 38. Did you draw the box on the wrong one?
Side. I mean, you
Oh, well, you have a box for the last
I
one.
ended up drawing it on the other side also.
Oh, that's okay.
I did too.
That's okay. All right, percent, right? I have to take this one, divide by that, times by 100 to get to there, and then just make sure I put the decimal in there too. Okay? So, chicken strips, 350 divided by 1465 times by 100. So this is the case where I'm going to have to do some rounding, right? Because I got a bunch of decimal places. So we have to make sure that our percent is not gonna, it's not gonna just magically come out to be 100. We may have to manipulate that a little bit. But for the most part, what's my closest percent on the chicken strips? 24%. So let's go to 24% here. And then I'll go decimal 24 here. Okay, ignore all the one up there, right? Your percent decimal should match your percent here. So we went up on this one. I'm just gonna go like that. So we can't go up on all of them because what happens if I round up on all of them?
Then
I may be over 100%, right? So we have to decide. But that one was really close to the 24, right? All right, fish and chips. 225, let me clear that up. 225 divided by 1465. So times by 100. Yeah. It's 0.3. So I'm gonna round it down to 15. So I'm rounding down this time and I'm going to 15%, 0.15. Lasagna, 175 divided by 1465 times by 100. What do you think on this one?
I'm thinking 12.
Yeah, I'm thinking 12. It's so close to 12. Let's go. So we rounded a little bit up. 12%, decimal 12. 451 divided by 1465 times by 100.
Just 30.
Well, it's pretty close to 31. So we'll go 31 and then we'll hope for the best on the next one. So 31, we did round that one up. So let's hope decimal 31. And then 264 divided by 1465 times by 100.
That's just 18.
That's just an 18. So let's hope that this one, decimal 18, and we don't have to. So let's try that out. 24 plus 15 plus 12 plus 31 plus 18. Look at that. We don't have to go back and manipulate any. But if we ended up with 101, maybe one that we rounded up, maybe we'd have to round down or something like that. Okay? But it worked out nicely. We have our 100% here. And you can erase these if you want to. No, you don't really need them.
What did you write?
I just went arrows up and down in case so I knew which one I rounded up and which ones I rounded down. That's okay. Okay, it worked out well. We have 100. Now we're going to do our degrees, right? So now I'm going to take the decimal and I'm going to times it by 360. And again, we're going to round it to the nearest degree because, I don't know how you would tell on the little protractor how to do, 35.2 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to put this over on this side now. 0.24 times 360 gives me 86.4. Where are we going? 86?
Yeah.
0.15 times 360, exactly 54. Decimal 12 times 360, 43.2. Let's go to 43. Decimal 31 times 360. We should probably round that one up. We did 2 down. Let's round that one up.
I made a mistake because I have 111.6.
Yes, I have 111.62. Yeah, that's fine. So we're going up to 112. And then decimal 18 times 360. Let's go to 65 and then let's see what we have. 86, 54, 43, 112, and 65. Yeah, proper rounding gave me exactly 360. So we have 360 degrees. Perfect. Now we need our circles.
Can we just take that protractor and draw?
I don't think so. I think it elongates your circle. It actually gives you a space in the center. It's more of an oval. I don't think you're going to get that. So I'm just going to stop the video or pause the video and come around and give you all circles.
Oh.
All right. So we've got our beautiful circle down here. So again, because, my brain works one way, I'm going to put my radius in like that. Just because, I have to. It's the way I'm built. Put my protractor down on the line, match it right to the center. Put it on the line here. I'm going to start at 0 and I'm going to go how many degrees? No.
86.
86. 80 and then just past the 85. So I'm going to go right about there. And I'm going to draw a line in. My beautiful line out to my circle. Okay, and then I'm going to label that again, chicken strips. And I'm going to go at, what am I going to put in also with it? Right, the 24%. And which you can see, it's not quite 25, it's not quite a quarter. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate my beautiful picture here. And I'm going to go 54 degrees for the fish and chips. Ooh, that sounds good. Could use some fish and chips. I know, it's like so making you hungry. We're going to fish and chips, 54 degrees. And again, there we do. Rotate back to right in. Don't, there's my 54 degrees. Make sure you rotate back to center so that you can write your fish and chips in nice and horizontal. I hate when the words start rotating around the picture. That looks so bad. You had fish and strips? You could have fish and strips. Why not? Some chicken, that's seafood.
Chicken chips.
You can have fish. You can have fish and chicken at the same time. There you go. We would have a combined of 39%. Okay, I rotate again. I got lasagna at 43 degrees. So I'm going to rotate again to make my line horizontal. And I'm going to put my protractor again on that line. Oh, am I going too fast?
How much was the
Yeah, I messed up with my
15%.
15.
Okay, I'll just pause. Okay, so I'm doing the third category now, which happens to be lasagna at 43 degrees. So again, center, 0, 10, 20, 30, 43, approximately about right there. Pull your line off. Go like that.
And what is it?
43 degrees.
So what food is it?
Oh, it's lasagna. Again, rotate back. Oh, I've got a bump in my line. I know, there we go. I fixed it. Oh, that doesn't look right. Erase, erase, erase. It's got to be pretty, guys. Pretty. It's pretty math. And lasagna, again, you want to make sure you can write horizontally. Lasagna, and it is 12%. And I'm going to rotate one more time. And I'm going to do pizza this time, and mac and cheese should take its own. So 112 this time. So again, at the 0, line it up right there. Go to 112 over here, just past the 110, 112. Should leave you a smaller wedge, smally wedge over on this side here. I know. I should really draw my circle in pen, and then I wouldn't have an issue. And I can erase. There we go. Oh, we're good. We're good. Still pretty. And we've got pizza at 31%. And let's see how close. Did you measure your last wedge? See how close you got? Did you? Oh, you're at 75. Little big. Not too bad. And let's see what my wedge is. Look at that. Oh, it's like a perfect day. Look at that. It's dead on. Oh, I'm so happy.
Oh, mine's perfect too.
Is it perfect?
Exactly. Mine's not exactly perfect.
Not as long as you're not like sitting at like 112 degrees, all right? A few degrees off, you're okay.
Mine's basically perfect.
So
Mine's
what's
67.
it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be 65. How close did you get?
73.
73?
I got 69.
69, not too bad. Not too bad, guys. It's your first, like your second circle. And what do I got? What do I label this thing?
62. I got 64.
18 degrees. or 18%. Look how beautiful that is. And yeah, you can color it after. Just 1 second. What are we missing?
The title.
Title. Lunch specials.
Should we have a total of students too?
Um,
I feel like it would make sense.
yeah, like they don't include the number of students in the title, but I would want to know that, right? And you could probably just put 1,465 students down here, because then that would help you go backwards, right? They don't always. It's not required in the title, but it is on other graphs.
Do you want us to write it?
I would put it in. It makes life easy. And we could color it now, but I'm gonna turn the video off just because it's perfect. But you can color them if you want and make a nice little wedge and shade them. All right, happy circle making.